Chats. Hello, and welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
We just got to season 3, guys.
So excited!
Oh my god,
I'm excited and terrified of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we all know, there's a character that is introduced in this episode that is not my favorite.
Nope.
Or at least was not my favorite when I first watched this show. We will see if he grows on me.
Yeah.
In a different way.
In a different way. In a nostalgic sort of way.
Yeah.
Like, I remember first watching this. Except you wouldn't, because you remember nothing.
Yeah, I remember nothing really of this season. There are bits and pieces that as I watched this episode, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this kind of. But I'd literally forgotten that this was the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it came in this season, but I had forgotten that this was the first episode of the season.
I remembered... I think I only associated one of the plot points with this episode, like, in terms of chronology, because for me, I'll remember, like, the things that happen in an episode, but I won't remember which episode they happened in and which order the episodes happened in. So...
A lot happens in this season.
I remember the whole Piper thing that we'll get to in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember all the things that happen in her storyline, but I didn't remember them as being associated with this episode.
Yeah.
So, shall we get into it?
We shall. First, quick disclaimers. We are in a brand new place for a brand new season.
Yep.
Hopefully this will be the last place we're in for a very long time.
For the duration of this podcast.
Yes, hopefully. But that also means that we have a new roommate.
Yes.
To quote-unquote deal with. But he is much more amenable.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has a cat instead of dogs, and therefore that's quieter. And he is just quieter, as long as he doesn't have his phone on.
Oh my god, his phone is so delightfully loud.
Yeah. It's delightfully loud until you're trying to record a podcast.
I know.
And then you have to be like, shut that off, please, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I apologize if you hear anything in the background. I mean, he's taking a nap, I think, so we should be okay.
He might have to use the bathroom, but
yeah,
that'll be it.
Hopefully it'll be quiet, and I won't have to edit around random sounds. Except possibly ice in drinks, but I think we're good. Because we are starting off season 3 in style.
With our customary...
sparkly grape juice.
That we have dumped into the Starbucks we already got.
Darn tootin'.
Because iced tea and
tea,
grape juice works
tea
out
is amazing.
Amazingly well.
Yeah. Tea is the best, and when you add some sparkle to it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yummy, yummy.
Uh-huh.
So... I also enjoy the fact that you got a bottle of white and a bottle of red.
And I always do.
But I was like, okay, the red is for you, the white is for me. We're good to go. Don't even need glasses.
I mean, it's not wine, so I don't really know what the difference is.
The white is a little sweeter than the red.
Okay.
Usually.
They're fine.
Yeah. I have an affinity for white grape.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, okay, slight tangent before we even start. There's
we would be yes if we didn't.
Very true. There is a soda called Diet Right.
Okay.
Which has a white grape. It's Diet Right white grape soda.
Mm-hmm.
I legit have been banned from buying it. Because I will go through a 24 case in a day.
I remember you telling me this.
Yeah. It is so good. And I am not allowed to have it anymore. It is, like, I am not addicted to, I don't smoke, I don't drink. But that is my addiction. I will go through a 24 case in a day, and it is bad. It is so bad.
That is very bad. What does that do to your bathroom habits?
You know, I don't even know. I haven't had it in ages, but it is just because I have stopped myself from getting it. It is
very reasonably so.
It's so good, though. Anyway, on that note, let's start, shall we?
We are at episode 301, The Honeymoon's Over.
This one aired on October 5th, 2000.
And the title really isn't a reference to anything other than, you know, the concept of the honeymoon being over.
Yeah.
The honeymoon standing in for generally a good period of time.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Yep, there's no real reference here other than its own reference.
Mm-hmm.
It is its own reference. There you go.
It's just one of those things where cultural consciousness is gonna pretty much cover this.
Yeah. It's a phrase, it works, all is good. So, We start with an exterior night shot of the manor, pushing in through a tree with no leaves, which I only mentioned because I noticed it, but it doesn't, we don't actually see.
So it's not an ominous mention
It's not
of the
an
fact
ominous
that there's
mention.
no leaves?
Yeah, no, we don't see I think we see the manor 2 more times, exterior shots, I think. And we don't see a tree at all in there. And so it all looks like it's the same. So at least the continuity in that is good.
Yeah.
We'll have other continuity issues.
Oh, yes, we will.
Later on. So, in the attic, we pan past a rocking horse that we have never seen before to Prue sitting on the floor looking through the Book of Shadows. Her hair is down, and she's wearing like a white, long sleeve white turtleneck with khaki pants, which we can't actually see the khaki
They're
pants.
kind of bell-sleeved, too, I think.
It was slightly bell-sleeved, but the shirt is like also like quite thin because you can either see it's either a white cami underneath it or it's a white bra underneath it. I'm assuming it's a cami, just because I think later on we can see that it's longer than a bra. But at this point, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, we see her just kind of flipping through a few pages in the book. They're all single-sided pages, and we don't really get many glimpses of whatever she's looking at. She's just kind of like flipping through.
Yeah, and I know
And
that some
it's
of it was stuff we've
interspersed-
seen before. So
Her flipping through is interspersed with shots of random items that we assume are in the attic. There's like a doll.
yeah, there's a porcelain doll.
And then some kind of Indian doll with like
Yeah.
the nose ring to the ear thing.
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, right? So I looked at this doll and I went, first of all, why would they have this? That was my first question. But then I was like, okay, this doll has an orange face, big eyes, jewelry that goes from the nose to the ear, and a red dot on its forehead. But that's all you really see is just the face of this doll. So I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a Talaka or a Bindi or something
assume
else
it
because
was
it's not a doll, so I'm not positive.
I mean, not assume. I wouldn't assume. I would think it was supposed to be a bindi because, from what I understand, that particular type of jewelry is common in Indian wedding ceremonies.
Yeah,
Or like
usually.
formal events. So I would hazard a guess that it's probably Indian.
Yeah, that was my thought, was that the doll is
And
Indian
the dot
in
is a
some form.
bindi.
Well, I'm not positive. I'll put a link
I think red
to
is
the...
also associated with weddings, so I don't know if that factors into it.
Usually, from what I have,
I've been to one
read,
Indian wedding, and it was rad.
Indian weddings are amazing, and they
Literally,
last for
like,
flipping ever. It's great.
Rode in on a fucking horse.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful, gorgeous white horse.
One of my friends, when her cousin got married, she goes, "I need to take a month off of work because my cousin's getting married," and they're all just like, "Wait, what?" She goes, "Well, the party lasts for 3 weeks, so." I was like,
I think it was
then.
one of my dad's coworkers,
Yeah.
so that's why we went. I was his plus one.
Nice.
And he's like, you gotta see this once in your life. It's great.
Indian weddings are amazingly fun. Mm-hmm. So
Definitely one of the best weddings I've ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
The
They have an amount of fun that is
the next best
not
wedding I was at
able to be compared to anything
has
else.
since been dissolved as a marriage. So,
Well, there you go. Mm-hmm. There you go. Because I'm me, I'll put a link to the wiki for both Tilaka and Bindi on the website, just because
they're education.
It's fun to learn new things.
Anyway, the best part, and then there's a teddy bear. And the best part about all these shots is that they're strong push-ins to the faces of these toys.
Yeah, like there's
just for no goddamn reason, and there's like some ominous music going
it's
on
basically,
in the background.
It really does, like they're trying to make it seem like a horror movie at this point. And it's really odd, and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's no reason for these push-ins. Especially on these items, these dolls we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And we'll probably never see again.
And they're not even, like, connected in the space. It's just shots. It's already close-up shots that push in. Like, are they even in the attic? What is going on?
Yeah, and they have nothing to do with the storyline in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and to top it off, then there's a shot of a cuckoo clock going off.
Yeah.
And Prue, like, jumps.
Yeah, it makes
and
her
then
gasp
pushes
and
her hair behind her ear for a second time.
Yeah. And we see the clock with its 4 eyes instead of IV.
Yes.
And it shows that it is 2 o'clock, which I didn't actually need to figure that one out by going to WikiHow, because it was already in the notes.
Oh, good. I was like, wait, how did you know?
It was already in the notes. Since it's dark outside, we are assuming that it is 2 o'clock in the morning. 2 a.m.
Prue goes back to looking through the book, and then we see in the background, because for some goddamn reason her back is to the attic door, The door
dramatic tension.
slams open, and a blurry figure in what looks like a vaguely red outfit is standing there. And so Prue whips around and throws her arm out, and we see a red clothing-clad Phoebe, who is now blonde, get thrown into an a la convenience settee.
Yeah.
Or daybed or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a daybed.
That's absolutely covered in pillows.
Yeah. It was, again, all of this furniture that has never been in the attic before is just there for some reason.
They probably just stock it with whatever isn't needed on other shows at the time.
Possibly.
I think they probably don't have much that's consistent to that, because they're like, well, this other show needs this one random thing for like an attic scene that's important for the plot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? So we do hear the person cry out. We know that it's Phoebe now.
Well, we know that it's a stunt person playing Phoebe.
Of course, yeah. But so her hair is blonde, and it's actually gotten pretty long now.
Yeah, it's like past her shoulders and everything.
She's wearing black pants with an orange top and a jacket on that's in shades of like orange and red, and she's wearing a small decorative scarf around her neck. Mm-hmm. It was kind of an interesting outfit.
Yeah. Anyway, Prue realizes her mistake immediately and gets up and does the oh kind of exclamation point that I really love when they all do that. And she runs over, helps Phoebe up, and she's like, I didn't know you were home. And Phoebe's, of course, pissed.
Of course. Because, why wouldn't she be? She just got thrown into a bed of pillows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she asks Prue a little tongue-in-cheek if she's feeling jumpy.
Yeah. Prue starts to give an explanation as to why, and a little bit of exposition.
It was great because Prue literally gives a single line of straight-up exposition, and Phoebe's like, I don't need the recap. I don't need the recap. I'm like, well, we kind of do.
Yeah. No, I loved the fact that was her thing. I was like, I don't need the recap. I was like, all right.
That was like almost bad writing.
I think it was kind of tongue-in-cheek.
It was a little too fourth wall-y.
I didn't take it that way.
Well, for me, it was a little like, finger next to nose, like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was funny in like that. Just stupid enough.
I don't know. It just the way it was presented maybe was what made it a little too much for me.
That could be. So, instead of learning about the bad guys who are out to get them, we learned that while Piper has been gone, Phoebe was taking care of some of the stuff at the club while still going to school.
And Prue was supposed to be taking care of all the stuff at home.
Exactly. But unfortunately, it seems that Prue has forgotten to pay the gas bill.
So it's fucking freezing.
Uh-huh. Prue mentions that she'll be happy when Piper gets back, and
Phoebe's like, oh, if she even comes back.
Yeah. And then we hear a phone ring, but it's not the house phone that's ringing. Uh-huh. It is a completely different ring.
It sounds more digital.
Yeah, a little bit. And Prue says that she's getting a fax, which is just one of those things that you do not hear anymore, because household fax machines are not a thing anymore. I will, of course, link to the wiki for anyone who wants to read about fax machines, but a fax machine is basically a way of sending a physical message via the telephone lines, like an email, only it's printed out.
Yeah, it's kind of like you Xerox something to someone else.
Yeah. It's an awesome concept before we had email.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, it works out pretty well now for like contracts and stuff. You can still use that. Now we have PDFs though, so that's mostly made it, what's the word? Not obsequious, but
obsolete.
Obsolete. There we go.
There you go. Hey, I knew a word that you couldn't think of. I'm proud.
I knew the prefix.
You did. You did indeed.
Prue grabs the Book of Shadows as they're walking out of the attic and
we get a lovely
Phoebe.
Walk and talk as they head downstairs.
She scolds Phoebe about the fact that Phoebe doesn't think Piper and Leo are coming back. She's like, that totally wouldn't happen, Phoebe.
Yeah. We learn that, with a little bit of exposition finally, that Piper and Leo have been gone for about a month. Mm-hmm. Without any word to her sisters, and so they're worried that she's not coming back and that they won't have the power of 3 when they need it, which automatically makes you go, oh, so we're going to need it. Got it.
Right. They also say that they apparently haven't been attacked lately, which,
means they're totally going to get attacked any minute now, because that's how foreshadowing works, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, Prue's like, hey, I've been doing studying on this here Book o' Shadows in order to find out what the Triad is going to do to us.
Now, here's my question.
How did they know about the Triad?
Yeah, because
I don't know.
They were not attacked by the Triad. They were attacked by the Council.
Yeah.
We have now forgone
that particular conclusion.
the Council for the Triad. So the Council no longer exists.
No,
and
we
now
have
it's
forsaken.
There you go.
We have forsaken the Council for the Triad.
There you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because we don't need no recap.
No, we don't.
No, we just need to change up the continuity.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Yeah, Phoebe wants to know why Prue isn't worried about Piper possibly not coming home.
And Prue's like, she's very worried. But she wasn't worried that Piper doesn't want to come home. It's that she's worried that they won't let her come home.
Yes, that she's
That's
totally stuck up there for whatever goddamn reason.
Yeah. And the house phone now rings. Much
Phoebe's
to
like,
Phoebe's curiosity.
Who's calling at 2 a.m?
Yeah.
And of course, Prue immediately knows, oh yeah, that's Daryl.
Yeah, it's going to be Daryl because, he's sending her a fax because that's a thing that happens.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Which was it's very interesting how he managed to send a fax from where he is.
Yep.
On his phone.
Yep.
Not a fax machine.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. We'll get there in a second. So
I wonder if maybe he called his, a secretary at the
that could be.
precinct or
He
something?
might have. He might have had somebody else send the fax to her, but that's still weird.
But anyway.
Anyway, so Daryl is on the phone. He asks if she got the fax, and Prue walks over to the fax machine that is in the Wicker Room, I believe, to get the fax. Mm-hmm. She hands it to Phoebe without even really looking at it. And we get some exposition that a murder suspect Daryl has been tracking,
who he thinks is in league with demons
of
some sort, due to the fact that in every victim there has been carved a sort of stylized inverted triangle.
Yeah. It's like a triangle with little curvy bits off of each of the edges.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like if you tried to do kind of a skeleton-y thing,
yeah,
but
it's
you
actually
didn't
kind of a cool looking.
But you didn't actually curl the points in.
Yeah, you just let them.
You just kind of made it do some waves. It's like 3 little shallow waves that are just made into a triangle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, the point is that not only does Daryl believe that this man has been doing these murders, but he's been completely getting away with it.
Yes, magically evading arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe says that the symbol looks like a rune, and Prue begins to look through the Book of Shadows to find this, because she's like, oh yeah, I think I've seen it in here someplace.
Which means she apparently just started looking upstairs.
Yeah, and then she asked Daryl if his suspect is still at the Pier Street rave. Now,
that's kind of like saying, First Street. That's so completely generic.
Yeah. It's so generic because San Francisco
has about 1,000 piers.
Yeah. So, we then cut over to Daryl.
And yet it is peerless.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. There is nothing, no place like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We cut over to Daryl, who is
in a club. So somehow the club either has a fax machine or he called someone else to fax stuff over.
Yep. And there's people dancing all around him. And this is my favorite outfit on Daryl because it is not a suit. He is wearing a few layers of black sleeveless shirts and a pair of black leather pants.
Uh-huh. And he's showing off them guns.
Yeah, it is one of those outfits where you just go, why is this man wearing 3 sleeveless shirts? But that's neither here nor there.
No.
But
I'm just watching
really
him walk through this crowd, and I'm noticing 2 things. One, miraculously, he somehow has reception in a club and can hear who he's talking to.
Yeah,
now you know this is Hollywood.
Yeah, that's how you know this is fake.
Uh-huh. And 2, all of the extras in the club scene are shorter than both him and the dude he's following.
Yes. I laughed so hard because you can see at some point, you see that he's following this bald guy who's also in all black.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, he hasn't spotted me yet, which is kind of funny. But we see this guy walking toward through the crowd, and I'm just like, how did they find a guy that was so much taller than everyone else? Or how did they get extras who are so much shorter?
Daryl's pretty fucking tall.
He is. But all of the extras in this crowd scene are at least like a head's height shorter than everyone. And it's just like, it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, what was the casting call for that? Must be shorter than 5'6".
I don't know.
So we cut back to Prue, who has turned a page in the book, and she goes, that she found it, and she sees the same symbol on the forehead of a demon drawn in the book with the name The Guardians.
More generic.
Uh-huh.
This is like off-brand grocery store episode.
Yeah, it's a little weird. It's just a little odd. And then Phoebe reads a bit of wording that's on the next page, which basically says that these demons steal innocent souls. And so, of course, Prue warns Daryl to stay away from the guy.
And Daryl's like,
Daryl,
I can handle myself.
Yeah, he
says
doesn't listen.
As he steps out into the dark and empty alley.
Yeah. Prue tells him that, demons protect mortal killers in exchange for their victims' souls, and that he's not going to be able to stop them.
And Daryl still doesn't listen.
Yep. And he goes, I have to go. As he walks outside, he doesn't hang up yet. He just says he has to go, and then he gets kicked in the head.
Yeah.
Because dude found something to hang off of in the alley.
Yeah.
And, it was so odd. Yes, it's perfect height where he's hanging and you can't tell he's above you until he kicks you in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's
just
a thing.
like the second Jurassic Park movie.
All right.
With the velociraptors and the gymnastics and stuff.
I will take your word for that. I don't think I've ever watched the second one.
It's a fun romp. For some reason, I only have the second and third Jurassic Park movies. I don't know where the first one went, but Colin needs to watch it, so...
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I will look through my collection and see if I own that one. Anyway,
we cut back to the manor.
Mm-hmm.
And Prue hangs up the phone, walks into the kitchen with Phoebe following.
Yeah.
She says... Somehow they're only 3 minutes away from this rave.
Which makes me want to find a map and find out how far away this Pier Street is from where this house is supposed to be.
We already know this house doesn't exist in San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not going to. But it absolutely made me think about it, going okay, if they're 3 minutes away from this Pier Street club.
Yeah.
Where is that? Because we have seen it. Was it first season
it's
or second season
Mission?
Where we saw?
Wait, no, it wouldn't be on Mission Street.
No, it'd be on Pier Street.
Yeah,
but we've seen a map in some former season. We have seen a map of where their house is supposed to be.
Yeah,
it is in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Yep.
There is no way that they're 3 minutes away from anything other than residential.
No. I've been reading some Shauna Maguire books that are set in San Francisco, and she does a really good job of, knowing where everything is and what distances are. So every I'll be listening to these books, and occasionally she'll mention a location. I'm like, I want to know where that is, and I'll look it up, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's about 30 minutes away from that other place that she mentioned 2 minutes ago.
Well, there you go.
And it's great because I'm learning a lot about the vague locations around the Bay Area.
Well,
I know where Muir Woods is now.
Well, there you go. I do not, and I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
anyway,
clearly the writers did not do this level of
not
research.
so much. Not so much. So the bad guy has closed the phone, and the fun. Okay, so the funniest part. Sorry, hold on. Back up. The funniest part is that we learn from Prue that the way to kill a guardian is the same way you'd kill a vampire, with a stake. And so she's like, let's go to this club that's 3 minutes away. And Phoebe looks up to the ceiling, to ask Piper where she is before she follows. And I'm just like, you realize you don't have to stare at the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? There's no reason to stare at the ceiling. They can hear you no matter where you are if they're listening. That sort of thing.
Yes, hi, Boobers.
Hi, Blue. How you doing? So, we cut back over to Daryl, where the bad guy has hung up his phone and is now kneeling next to him, holding a lovely wavy dagger that may or may not be a Chris, but is probably going to get called anathema.
It is very, very shiny.
It is so shiny. I will link to the Chris. It's a Kris. It's one of my favorite daggers. They're so cool looking. But I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, that looks like a Chris. It's probably going to get called anathema.
Uh-huh.
Because that's the kind of show this is.
Yes, it is.
So we hear some sort of soft chanting in some weird language.
More like whispering, really. It's like a whisper chant?
Yeah, it was like a whisper chant.
And it's like several voices overlaid over top of each other.
Yeah, and the bald guy is not one of the people chanting. Like, his mouth is not moving.
It's clear that this is supposed to be voices he's hearing.
Yeah. And he's sweating a lot. It was like they misted him down with like a spray bottle. The fact that he's sweating makes it seem like he doesn't want to kill Daryl. Like, he's doing it because there's a dude here, but it's not really what he wants.
I don't know, because... Okay, can I do like a slight spoiler for the next 2 minutes?
Well,
just because his reaction when a soul does get... Spoiler alert, Daryl's fine. But his reaction when a soul does get sucked out into the guardian that is possessing him is kind of like a junkie.
A little bit. But
so it's not like he doesn't want to. It just feels like he's in withdrawal and he's like really excited about his next high or something.
I don't know. It just seemed a little weird. Like he's like all sweaty and weird. And he looked like he was hesitating a lot. That's all I'm saying. He just looked like he was hesitating a lot when it came to killing Daryl.
It looked more like he was edging.
I don't know. For me, it did seem like he was hesitating. Because then a woman comes into the alley and sees them. And she gasps and runs away and drops whatever she was holding. And he leaves Daryl to go running after her.
Mm-hmm.
So, if all he wanted was to kill Daryl to get that adrenaline kill high thing...
Well, I mean...
Could have,
he's a serial killer.
He dropped the person he already had dead to rights to go after the girl.
Well, witness.
But still...
Well, okay, like... I do not see the hesitation as being a sign of reluctance. I see it as a sign of drawing it out, enjoying it more. It's a very ritual thing. He has a fucking Chris knife.
I guess. I don't know, because he runs after her. She tries to get in the club. Door's locked, because that's what happens when you leave through the emergency exit. Mm-hmm. And then she runs toward a fence, which for some reason has barbed wire on the top of it. You know. He catches up with her, and, like, she begs for her life, and he stabs her, and then lowers her to the ground. Because that was the other thing, is he just knocked Daryl out with a kick to the head. He didn't stab him with the knife at all. But he stabbed her.
He was able to sneak up on him, though.
Yeah, I guess.
She was being loud. And granted, like, no one's going to hear it in the club, but maybe someone walking down the street would.
Maybe.
And so his interest is to get her as quiet as possible, as quick as possible, so he can't fucking knock her out. Also, she's facing him, so.
That could be. There's a lot of possibilities, I guess. So, we cut inside the building, where Prue, now wearing a leather jacket over her outfit, and Phoebe have made their way, and they're walking through the crowd. Mm-hmm. So we get a quick little cut just to see that they've showed up, because, 3 minutes away.
Mm-hmm. And they look vaguely uncomfortable, because this is not their scene.
Yeah.
And we go back outside, where Baldy is kneeling over the dead woman, and we hear that whisper chanting again, and we see his face. We see his face, and we hear moment. We see his face, and we hear the sound effect of what we're supposed to assume is him using the knife to carve the triangle on her forehead, and then we immediately cut to her face, and the triangle is there.
Right, but the thing is that the imagery of him cutting is like
Bob Ross.
It's so bad. That like it looks like he's just going.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain.
The camera's on him. You can't see his hand. You maybe see his shoulder, and you see that his arm is moving. But his arm is
moving really fast.
Yeah,
and really imprecisely.
Yeah,
like there is no way that the movements that he was doing will actually make that rune on her head, and it is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Anyway, after we see this perfectly cut rune on this woman's forehead, it starts glowing.
Glows, yeah.
Like a Photoshop effect.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then a spectral version of this guardian demon kind of like comes out of our Baldy.
And it looks like the demon that is in him is a photocopy version of the picture that was in the Book of Shadows.
Pretty much.
Which, for some reason, is a thing that happens. And then the guardian dude...
He uses the triangle on his head to presumably suck out the woman's soul through the triangle on her head.
Yeah. And then he disappears again. And then Baldy lets out a pleased sigh.
Yes, which is why I think that...
It was like euphoric kind of. Yeah.
Like he's chasing a high. He's hesitating because, I don't know, he's possessed by the spirit that has to make him carve the perfect rune in what seems like a very haphazard manner.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
I gather that the plus for him is, hey, he gets to murder people, and he gets a high off of doing it. Like, he'd probably already be murdering people.
Oh, probably.
He's got that kind of a face.
Yeah.
You know, like, mid-30s white male.
He has the face of a murderer.
Mid-30s white male with weird fucking eyebrows. Like, you'll see these eyebrows a lot later, and oh my gosh, they are just asking for, like, they're super angry already when he's just got, like, deadpan face. It's great.
Are they attack eyebrows?
They are attack eyebrows, but they're really skinny attack eyebrows. And anyway, Scottish attack eyebrows are, like, both more and less intimidating than these eyebrows.
Yeah. Right, Blue? Yeah, that's what I thought. So he lets out his pleased sigh. He heads back over to Daryl, and we cut to Prue and Phoebe as they walk outside.
Oh, I just had another thought.
What?
What if the hesitation is because the whisper chant has to happen? Like, if that's part of the ritual. The demon or whatever has to chant in order to make the rune on the forehead glow once he cuts it. If it's like a prep step. Like chilling your butter before you make a pie crust. You have to do that. You can't just take it out of the fridge. You like, well, I mean, you could just take it out of the fridge, but you can't have been, like, sitting on the counter or whatever.
Maybe.
Like, I'm going to go with that. That's my headcanon.
All right.
The chanting is a prep step.
All right. I'll allow it. Anyway, so we see the girls as they walk outside. They see the woman dead, and then they turn around to see Baldy about to do the same thing to Daryl.
Which is weird because wasn't Daryl attacked right outside the door?
No. Well, yes. Kind of.
Yeah.
But
pretty much right outside the door and then laid down.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right?
And somehow
he
walks around corner, opposite corner from where we presumed Daryl had come out, and runs in the opposite direction now. Mm-hmm. And somehow she ends up closer to the door.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing because the layout of where they are is not the layout of where they should be.
Correct.
And it's all sorts of odd, this one.
Unless, of course, Baldy dragged Daryl over to a much more secluded corner, which, like, okay, Daryl's got about 40 to 50 pounds on him, just, like, of pure muscle, mostly guns. So I don't see that being likely.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just more the annoyance factor than anything else. But, so they see Daryl, and Prue uses her power to send Baldy flying to the top of the dumpster.
Where he's promptly knocked out.
Yeah.
Like, he just lands on the top of the plastic. He doesn't hit the wall.
No.
He just lands there. There's a little bit of dust. And then we see his legs swing.
Yep.
So he's clearly knocked out.
Yep. And they run over to check on Daryl, who is thankfully still alive. And then we see the Guardian come rising out of Baldy, and Prue uses her power to send a stick toward the Guardian, but it goes right on through him.
Yep.
Because she sent it,
Was it a stick?
toward the
It looked
chest.
like a rebar to me.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Whatever, it was something on the ground, vaguely stick-esque.
Yeah. It was straight and vaguely cylindrical.
Yeah. So
anyway, Phoebe's confused because she's like, Prue, you said the book said they should be treated like vampires. And Prue's like, I might have misread that part.
Yeah. Then the Guardian picks up the dagger from Baldy's hand. And so you have to get the vision of this. There is now a spectral being holding a physical dagger.
Yes.
Okay. Phoebe tells Prue to aim for the rune on his head because Phoebe is the smart one in this situation.
Yeah, because she's going to college.
Mm-hmm. Prue uses her power to send a stick or another piece of rebar or something flying into the triangle on the Guardian's forehead. He gets electrocuted and disappears with the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe then jokes about killing Piper if she ever comes back, and we go to the opening credits.
Yep.
So, before we go any further than that, just bearing in mind that a spectral being took a physical object with them when they went.
So clearly they're connected to the knife.
Exactly. But so that means that there is Now no murder weapon
Yeah.
to go with this murder. Just saying.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, because that'll come back to us. Right, Blue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we see in the opening credits that the girls have a few new clips, because
Yep.
it's a new season, with both of Prue's powers being shown.
Yep.
And Daryl is in the credits, which we
Yay!
already knew because we'd be seeing him in the opening scene, you know. But his credit is now after Leo's credit.
He's been moved up.
Yeah. And we get a new face in the credits.
Which is Julian McMahon.
Yes, so that means that we have a new character being added. So since he's in the credits, I will tell you about the actor. I'm not going to mention his character yet until we actually see him. Julian McMahon was born Julian Dana William McMahon on July 27th, 1968 in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, which that'll come up again. His father is Sir William McMahon, and he was the former Prime Minister of Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to tangent on that, but of course I will link to the wiki in case anyone's curious. Julian has been acting since 1989, and he is still going strong. Most people will either know him from Charmed or from Nip Tuck, but he was on a show called Profiler for 4 years before he got this role on Charmed. But he started out in an Australian soap opera called Home and Away, which he was on for a year. I will link to that for anyone who wants to know more. I haven't watched anything more than a single YouTube clip, but that show is so Australian. It is so Australian. Most recently, he has been on a few episodes of Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, which is
I really need to watch.
Oh my god, the show is so good. It's a show based on a series of books by Douglas Adams, which is, yes, the same guy who did Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I will link to all of those things because everyone should check them out, but I'm not going to tangent on it because we've only gotten to the opening credits.
Yeah.
But everyone should watch it.
Yes.
Dirk Gently is so good. So good.
It's basically Elijah Wood and some British guy. And it's
so good.
I can already tell it's fucking hilarious. I
fantastic.
never finished any of the books.
I actually, in my purse, I have the first book, and I try to read it whenever I have, like, a moment where I have nothing else, and I can just read a book for a few minutes, but I haven't gotten very far into the book, and it's one of those where, after watching the first season of the show, I'm going, I think I'm going to hold off on the books until the show is over, kind of like I did with True Blood and with Dexter and all that. Anyway, so I haven't even gotten to the music, so let's get to that. The post-credit song was something brooding and menacing.
With love, like booms and
no
stuff.
words.
Yeah, it was just instrumental.
And I have no idea what it was or who to credit for it, because neither Shazam nor Soundhound had a clue.
Yep, nope.
And I also couldn't find anything that shows that the song was anything significant or different on the DVD. I did not watch the DVD.
I have not checked.
Yeah.
I should probably do that.
Yeah. I only watched it on Netflix. I apologize. But that just seems to be the easiest way for me lately, is to be able to watch things on Netflix.
Oh, stretchies.
You stretching out, Blue? Yeah. So, our post-credits shots. We get a night shot flying over the water, showing the Ghirardelli building. Then progressively closer shots of the buildings. We're getting a lot of push-in kind of
Yeah, they're having
things.
a lot of fun with that camera.
Yeah,
work.
they're being artsy. We're shown the triangle building at least 3 times before we then fly around it to show the buildings below it. It was a very artsy shot. And we push in on one of the buildings underneath the triangle building and then fade into a shot coming over a cop car with the red and blue lights spinning. Which makes me wonder if the building that they have pushed in on is what we were supposed to believe is the club that they're at.
Maybe.
Because if it is, then there's no fucking way that was 3 minutes away from the manor.
Nope.
Just saying.
Nope.
So, outside the club, which seems to possibly be in Chinatown, because the sign next to the club that was a neon sign had Asian letters. It was not in English. It was either Chinese or Japanese. I can't tell the difference. I know it wasn't Korean because there was no circles.
Right.
That is the only reason that I even remotely know Korean, is because Korean is the one with circles.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we see police putting the woman into a body bag on one of those stretcher cart thingies.
Gurney.
Gurney, that's the word. Yeah. Stretcher cart thing.
we pan over to Phoebe and Prue, who are with Daryl. He's awake. He's being checked out by a paramedic.
And he's showing off them guns.
Indeed. So this paramedic is played by Anthony Montgomery. He was born on June 2nd, 1971 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Not to be confused with the Anthony Montgomery that was born in 1984 and drafted to the Washington Redskins NFL team in 2006. Completely different guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. He started acting in 1998. He is still going strong. He has had a recurring gig on the soap opera General Hospital since 2011. But most people will probably know him as Travis Mayweather on Star Trek Enterprise.
Which might be the weakest of all the Star Trek series.
Yes. You know why? Because it's supposed to take place before the original series, and yet it is trying to be so serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. Especially, and this is
Plus,
the
they tried to go more serious than TNG.
Well, there is that.
And they tried to add way too much personal drama because that was the thing on television at the time.
Yeah.
And the thing about Star Trek is that Star Trek is a place. It exists it's supposed to exist independent of whatever is going on in the quote unquote real world.
Yeah.
And I mean both the real world and the TV show The Real World.
Yes. Is
so
that even still on?
If you try
and
make a Star Trek show that's supposed to be pop culture relevant, you're gonna fail.
It's gonna fail. Yeah. It's totally gonna fail.
It might have its positive aspects, but it's not going to be that good. And honestly, the word's still out on the jury is still out on whether or not Discovery is actually all that good. Like, I'm enjoying it a hell of a lot, and it does manage to have its like super sciencey nerd moments, which is great.
I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched it.
That's fine.
I'm sad.
It's behind a paywall.
It's one of those where like I just don't have time with everything else in my life to catch it when it's recording, and if I miss an episode, that's it, because like it doesn't show up on demand.
Oh, honey, they aren't airing it on TV.
But they did air the first episode.
Yes, that was
on TV, and I didn't get to watch that one, and then it was
also part of a two-parter.
Yeah, but like, and then it disappeared, and I'm like, oh, all right, I can't do it. So I'm just sad because it has Doug Jones.
I know,
and I want to watch everything that man.
We can watch it sometime because I do have CBS, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have it. I mean, I could watch it online if I really, really wanted to.
It's only on All Access.
Yeah.
It's behind that paywall.
I have cable, so...
Okay, that might work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I could watch it. I just don't really have the time. But but it's just... I'm sad about it because it has Doug Jones in it. And I see it.
And he's so good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Even when he's being CGI'd. Running. Because running in those shoes. But I'd say in heels no less, but there's literally no heel to them. They are all like the front.
My favorite part about that is he did an interview where they were trying to figure out what his character was going to look like.
And he's like, can I just have my butt?
Yeah, he was like, you want the most alien of butts, just don't give me any padding. Just give me my butt, because he has none.
He has none.
He has a flat
The man
butt.
is a walking, adorable stick.
Yeah.
And he's goddamn tall.
Yes, he is. Oh my goodness. So tall.
But his physique is exactly why he can be in all of these various monster costumes.
Yeah.
Because he fits in all of them.
Yeah. Anyway, we tangented off of Enterprise. I did want to...
Also, Doug Jones is not to be confused with the Doug Jones in Alabama.
Yes.
Who, by this point, may or may not have won his Senate race or whatever.
It's like, he may or may not be relevant at the time this comes out in January.
Honestly, the cycle with all of this shit lately, it goes so fast. Like, it's not even a 2-week thing. Like, everyone's going to forget about it.
Yeah.
Someone will mention something, they're like, this happened 3 weeks ago. I'm like, what? No, that was last year. What?
Yeah. Okay, we're going to stop talking politics
now. It's been such a long year. But as the Mountain Goats say, I'm going to get through this year if it kills me.
Darn tootin'. Such a good song.
Mm-hmm.
# Becky's Secret Project.
Yes.
Anyway, oh boy. I want to pop back to Enterprise. The one thing that one of my friends said the reason that she didn't enjoy Enterprise was because the Klingons looked wrong. And this,
the Klingons always look wrong because they always change them up between every single series.
But this is the thing, right? Is this was her argument. She goes, this show, Star Trek Enterprise, is supposed to take place before the original. So why did the Klingons look like they took place after Deep Space Nine?
The Klingons in Discovery are even more extreme, so I don't have an answer for you.
But I believe the best thing ever is the way that she described it. She goes, the Klingons should have lobsters on their heads.
Yes.
And they don't. And that was her argument. She goes, the Klingons should look like they have lobsters on their heads.
Or wrinkly butt prints.
And they are so not that. She goes, I just didn't believe it. It sounds stupid, but she goes, that's the one thing. She goes that she
it's
grew
always
up.
the little things.
It's the little things. She grew up on the original series, and this show is supposed to take place before that. And so that one imagery in her brain of the Klingons being so different in Enterprise, it just took her out of it. She goes, I didn't feel like I was in that world.
Yeah. I mean, there's also to consider the fact that they did the original series on, like, negative budget.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much it's just like, great, what color can we paint you? And what fake facial hair can we put on you?
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Which is why you have the two races of people where literally one half of them is black and one half of them is white. Right down the middle. And then the other race is the same, but reversed.
Yep.
And that's their issue.
Yep.
Gosh! How close to describing actual racism can we get while making it seem like we're not talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we could tangent about Star Trek all night. Let's not.
Let's not.
Let's go back to the show that we're actually trying to be on.
I've already had my Earl Grey for the day.
Yes. We'll chat later.
Yes, we will.
So, anyway, the medic is asking Daryl if he's got any symptoms of a concussion, and Daryl insists that he's fine.
No, you're not, Daryl. You got knocked out and you stayed out for more than 5 seconds.
Yep. So, the medic says that the girls fighting off his attacker is the reason that he's alive, which I just thought was the best little moment. We see Baldy being walked toward a police car.
And he's giving this, like, weird, creepy, like, smile.
Yeah, it was like a wannabe evil grin, but it was just a little weird.
It was a little too close to Nelson from The Simpsons. Or is that his name? The bully?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Actually, no, it was a little too close to Barney from The Simpsons.
The drunk?
Yes.
All right.
Like that kind of...
Yeah.
It was a little too dopey.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It was a little waylaid on the evil side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But not so dopey that it looked benign.
Yeah. So the medic tells Daryl that he's a lucky man, and he grabs his bag and he walks away. And Phoebe then asks Daryl if they can leave, but Daryl's like, no, you have to give a statement. You're the only witnesses to this crime. But of course, the girls protest due to magic reasons.
Yes, but unfortunately, Daryl was on the clock at the time that all of this was going down, so really it's his fault.
It is kind of. So he reminds them that their testimony is the only thing that's going to keep the bad guy in jail.
And we finally learn that Baldy's name is Emilio.
Yeah.
As in Estevez.
Yeah, I believe it was Emilio Smith.
Oh, God. That's really dichotomous.
Just...
like...
yeah.
A very distinct first name and the most generic last name you can possibly get.
Yep. So, let me tell you the very little that I found out about this actor. His name is Fleming Brooks.
I just read that just now as
name.
Flaming Brooks, which would have been better.
But Fleming Brooks has got to be, like, a wonderful name. It's just great. But he only has 4 acting credits. In 2000, he was in an episode of Star Trek Voyager and this episode of Charmed. And in 2001, he was in an episode of Diagnosis Murder and an episode of Buffy.
Season 6, Episode 10, Wrecked as Mandraz.
Yeah.
Which is a very good name for that face.
So there you go. That is literally all I could find about him. You're welcome. We see Emilio still creepily smiling at them as he gets put into the back of a cop car. And Prue then wonders aloud why he is so giddy without his guardian demon. But Phoebe is concerned that they don't have their guardian angel, because, we had to have the words demon and angel in there. Mm-hmm. Lest we forget, right? Yeah. And then she wonders what they're supposed to do now, but...
Daryl, tells them to figure it out fast, because, whisper, whisper, the ADA is coming at them.
Yeah. ADA, of course, stands for Assistant District Attorney, in this case, at least, for anyone who's wondering.
Of course, lawyers.
Yes.
That's what attorney means.
Yeah.
Also advocate or avocat, though it could also mean avocado if you're in French.
Lawyers are avocados?
Yes. Avocados at law.
Interesting.
Oh, right, you haven't seen Daredevil. I forgot.
I have not.
That was one of the jokes in there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it. I'll get to it eventually at some point, maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can adjust the balance on your screen so you can actually see it while it's happening.
Yeah.
Because I know that was your main issue, I think.
Yeah, everything was super dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
If anyone knows of an app to do that, that'd be great.
Yeah. Anyway, so according to the wiki, they are law enforcement officials who represent the state government on behalf of the district attorney in investigating and prosecuting individuals alleged to have committed a crime. And in carrying out their duties to enforce state and local laws, ADAs have the authority to investigate persons, issue subpoenas, file formal criminal charges, plea bargain with defendants, and grant immunity to witnesses and accused criminals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to bother putting that wiki on the website because I've just told you all the relevant information.
Yes.
You're welcome.
And anyway, the camera switches perspectives, and we see Julian McMahon walk up in a very sedate sort of suit.
Yeah.
And he's got like a black t-shirt under his suit jacket.
Yeah.
Like he's
trying to
there's a
be
badge
cool
on there. Like, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And he introduces himself as Cole Turner and asks if either of them saw what happened. And of course,
Phoebe immediately raises her hand.
Yeah, like, we saw the shot of him, and then it flipped back to her, and her head is, like, popped up like a meerkat.
Yes. Yes, that is the best description.
She's like, well, hello, Dolly.
Yes.
And she just,
like,
she's
raises
just
her hand like, I did. With,
so
like,
you know she's in
most,
college.
Yeah, like the most enthusiastic way, which makes Prue roll her eyes, which was the best response.
Uh-huh.
And we get some little smiles between Phoebe and Cole. But now here's the thing, right? So he asks either of them if they saw what happened. And he's trying to put on an American accent, but the Australian comes out a little bit in the way that he said the word saw.
Okay.
And it's going to creep in here and there throughout this entire episode.
I have never known that he was from Australia.
Uh-huh.
Like, you telling me this and that you can hear his accent is, like, blowing my fucking mind right now. Because I never goddamn knew this.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, me at 12 not knowing how to do some goddamn research, like, I'm a little disappointed in past me.
Yeah, well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it was just really funny because the way that he says the word saw has just that little, like, lilt of the Australian in it. And I was like, yep, there it comes.
Because in all the acting I ever see him do, he's just American.
Yeah.
I never see him do anything else, so I had no indication that he would be anything else.
It kind of reminds me of Hugh Laurie in House.
Mm-hmm.
Where until the cast party, nobody knew he was British. Which still makes me laugh. Anyway, so yeah, just be aware that the Australian accent will creep into singular words in phrases every once in a while throughout this entire episode and possibly the entire run of his character. I don't know. I'll probably make mention of it again.
I haven't even heard any interviews with him then. Because if he just has an Australian accent, I guess I never watched any interviews.
Maybe.
Because that would be the only reason I would know.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just really disappointed in past me.
Yeah. It's really, really funny, though. Because it isn't like... It's a super subtle thing. Where if you didn't know he was Australian, it would pass you by.
Yeah.
But, like, the second you know, you go, oh, there it is. There it is in that one word.
God, now I feel like oh, God. All the other episodes are going to be very interesting with this knowledge now.
Well, there you go. I have now given you a little brain nugget. And you will now be paying attention.
Shit.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Oh, this isn't a bad adjustment.
Yeah, no,
it's not like learning about the 4 on clocks.
Yeah.
I ruined lives with that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, institutional racism.
Well, there is that. Anyway, we now cut over to an exterior shot of a white building with pillars.
So you know it's a law thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, hang on. I want to redo that. So you know it's a courthouse.
There you go. We have seen this building before, but it has been a while, and I believe it was a courthouse before, so it tracks that it's a courthouse again. Inside a courtroom,
we see Daryl, Prue, and Phoebe sitting on one of these spectator benches behind Cole, who is standing in front of them on the other side of that little partition with the cute little gate.
Yep. Phoebe is in a peach-colored shirt under a green jacket with a tan skirt, and her hair is half up, half down. It looked really cute.
It was.
Prue is in a long-sleeve purple shirt that looks like it's layered over a pink one, and her hair is down. Now, here's the thing. I know I'll mention it later when we actually see her standing, but she's actually wearing a long-sleeve purple sweater over a long-sleeve pink dress. And it makes me wonder if it was made that way,
Mabesies?
or if she just added the sweater over top.
Were the sleeves almost the same length?
They were almost the same length.
And it was made for it.
Yeah.
Because it was made to be able to show just a little bit of the actual sleeve underneath.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you would get a sweater that would be just a perfect length with a long sleeve dress unless it was made for it. Like, no way in fucking hell.
Yeah, because
designers can't even agree on sizes. There's
Well,
no way
oh,
they'd
man.
agree on this shit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's just like a tiny little bit of the pink that's peeking out, and the purple is just thin enough that you can kind of see that there's pink underneath it. It was a nice little outfit. Mm-hmm. I liked it. Cole and Daryl are both in black suits with white shirts. Cole has on a blue tie and Daryl has on a red one.
So you can tell which party they're voting for?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Cole asks about the murder weapon, which I rightfully knew that the girls were going to call an athame.
And he delightfully mispronounces it.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Athame.
Athame? Yeah. Phoebe explains to him...
Would you like a chamois for your athame?
Yeah. Phoebe explains to him that it is a ceremonial knife used by lots of different crazy people.
She says after being elbowed by Prue.
Mm-hmm. Prue wonders... Thank
Hi,
you.
Blue.
Thank you, Blue.
Can you lay?
Prue wonders if not having a weapon is going to hurt the case, but Cole isn't worried. He tells them that he's good at what he does, as the bailiff, who gets a line but not an IMDb credit,
I shrug.
introduces the Honorable Judge William Hamilton as he enters the room. The judge is played by Harry Danner. He has 24 acting credits between 1979 and 2009, but couldn't find anything else out about him. Like, not even how old he was.
Oh, well.
So, there's that. Phoebe is nervous about lying, and then we find out that the lawyer for Emilio is a public defender named Alan Sloan.
Mm-hmm. And he is wearing a very nicely cut suit that's like, is that double-breasted or... No.
I don't know.
It looks like a 40s gangster.
Yeah, it was a light gray suit.
Like the 2 rows of buttons.
Yeah.
Like, it looked really
It looked
good.
very nice on him. It was a light gray suit with a white shirt and a red patterned tie. It was really, really nice. Alan Sloan is played by Stoney Jackson. How's that for a
That's
name?
good name.
He was born February 27th, 1960 in Richmond, Virginia. He started acting in 1979, and he is still going strong. And in the United States, a public defender is an attorney employed by the government and appointed by the courts to represent and advise those who cannot afford to hire a private attorney.
Correct. That's a part of your Miranda rights.
Yes. I will link to the wiki for that if anyone wants to learn more, because that is a fascinating read.
Mm-hmm. But yes, his
Anyway.
suit, the lovely 40s mobster suit, for some reason he's only got 2 of the 3 buttons buttoned.
Yeah, well,
That kind of bothered me.
I think it might have been because he was sitting, and you unbutton the bottom button usually to sit.
Usually, don't you unbutton all of the buttons? So it'll
Not
just swing
necessarily.
open?
Not in court.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
probably because they're standing up and sitting down so much.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, we see Emilio in gray pants, a dark red shirt, a black patterned tie, and a tan jacket.
Quite the mixture of colors.
Yeah, it's like he got it from the Lost and Found. So, we get some stereotypical court stuff, so let's do a quick rundown.
Bad guy, Emilio, pleads not guilty. Lawyers talk about there being no murder weapon. Phoebe does one of those eye-rolly out-loud exclamations where everyone's like, oh my god, Phoebe, shut up. Mm-hmm. And the judge bangs the gavel to call order. Baldy's lawyer is like, well, if it just magically disappeared, poof.
Yeah.
And Phoebe does an out-loud, like, whisper, stage whisper to Prue. She's like, he knows.
It was the funniest fucking thing.
That would have been a
hilarious.
joke for me to say.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
It was the funniest. Prue kind of like calms her down, and there's a few objections from Cole, but then the judge sides with the defendant and drops all the charges, so Emilio is free to just walk on out of there.
Yep. And he like bangs the gavel and is like, next case.
Uh-huh.
And Emilio and his lawyer stand up. Emilio grins at Prue and Phoebe as they walk past.
And Cole reaches it over to grab Emilio's jacket and says something vaguely threatening.
Yeah. And then Daryl talks him down, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind of funny. But, like, it's one of those moments where...
Like, this
You
is not
know
how
that-
actual court
Yeah,
happens.
no, there is no way that in actual court he wouldn't have gotten thrown in jail for contempt.
Yeah.
Like, you just attacked somebody in front of all of these people. Like,
Threatened
you
him.
threatened him with bodily harm, basically,
Uh-huh.
while holding on to him
Yeah.
bodily. You would be arrested right then. Like, there's,
Yeah, you're clearly not
like,
good at what you
that's
do.
how you know this is TV.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Courtroom drama.
Dude.
Yep. And then, you know, Phoebe apologizes to Cole after...
As bad
after-
guy and his lawyer leave.
Yes. And then Cole says something about refiling if there was any information that they weren't telling him.
Yep. Anything they didn't mention before.
And Phoebe has zero poker... No, wait, she has less than that. She has negative poker face.
Yeah, Prue has to, like, pull her away. And this is where, as they walk away, we can see that Phoebe's jacket is nearly floor length and has white patches on it with some sort of Asian writing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this is where we can see that Prue's dress is actually the purple on top of pink long dress thing.
So anyway, we cut over to an exterior shot of the manor.
Mm-hmm. Inside, Prue is sitting on a couch in the living room, which I believe was the couch that Phoebe was sitting on with Strife in the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse episode.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. She's looking at the Book of Shadows as Phoebe crosses in front of her. And this is one of those scenes where we get lovely outfits and a weird continuity thing that will come in later.
Okay.
And I will explain it when we get there.
Okay,
So,
it wasn't anything I noticed that I'm aware of.
that's fine. There's a few continuity questions that come into play in this episode,
Right.
timing-wise. So, let's do the outfits. Prue is in a pair of pleather pants and a black long-sleeve shirt. She has a necklace with some vaguely Native American vibe to it.
Again, with the appropriation.
Mm-hmm. It's a beaded necklace with a large circle of metal and some feathers.
And it looked like kind of a tiny hand symbol.
Yeah, it was odd to say the least.
Yeah, symbol
And it
CYMBAL, as in the instrument, not like symbolism.
Yes. It looked like it was vaguely not comfortable to wear.
Probably not.
Like, it didn't look like it was a necklace that anyone would put on and leave on for any length of time.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, her hair is pulled up into a bun. Phoebe is in a tight, white, sleeveless crop top with a red star on it
Yeah.
that has sequins in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Her belly button ring is on full display, and she has paired it with tight gray pants. Her hair is down and straight.
Kind of like a blowout, sort of.
Yeah, a little bit. And we can now see how lightened it really is.
Uh-huh.
And we will also find out a little later in this scene that she is not wearing a bra under that shirt, even though her boobs are very, very perky, and I'm a little envious of the perk.
Mm-hmm.
But it just interested me that her boobs looked very, very perky and bigger than normal in this particular shirt. And yet she's supposedly not wearing a bra. Just saying. It was just a little odd. Anyway, quick rundown of this scene. Phoebe thinks they shouldn't have lied.
Prue reminds her that they would have been locked up for being crazy if they had mentioned their powers.
And Phoebe's shown signs of being attracted to Cole,
Uh-huh.
because of course she
Yes.
does.
And just at this moment, behind the couch they're sitting in, Piper and Leo orb in.
Yeah, they seem to be wearing the same clothes they left in, but I think the clips in Piper's hair are actually
I think
different.
they're a little different, but it's the same hairstyle, it's the same
Yeah.
clothing.
Yeah.
On her, at least. I don't know about him.
Yeah, no, they were the same.
Okay.
For the clothing was the same, which I honestly didn't write down, because if you don't remember what they were wearing, just go back to 222,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's what they were wearing. The end of 222, that's what they're still wearing. But it was like either the clips were in a different spot on her head, or they were different clips, because the clips did not look the same.
Okay.
Anyway,
like, their arrival is heralded by a little bit of a tinkly noise, and then arguing.
yeah, they're arguing about rules and stuff that happened while they were up there.
And then they're fully in the room, and Prue tries to get Piper's attention,
But
but
Piper gives him like the 1 minute finger
Yeah,
and kind
and
of
she
shushes
shushes
her.
her.
Yeah. And like, so when the conversation doesn't go the way that she wants it to, Piper freezes Leo, tells her sister she's going to the club, not to tell Leo where she went, and she walks out the door.
Yeah, that's not the best course of action.
No, but it is
Because,
Piper, so
where else would she go if she's not at the house? Gee, I wonder.
Yeah. Prue and Phoebe lament the fact that they're not going to get to yell at her, just as Leo unfreezes.
Because Piper has left the area in which she did the freezing.
Yeah, so Phoebe then turns her bitching upon him, saying that they need to call and let them know that they're safe the next time they go away like that.
And Prue like, runs up to her and, like, puts a hand on her shoulder, and she's like, okay, calm down. Yeah, like that scene from Mulan where the large dude is, like, rocking the little dude to being calm. It's a little bit like that.
A little reminiscent, yeah.
Yeah, she like grabbing her shoulders and just, like, kind of, like...
It's okay, just
calm. Not crushing her, just, like, kind of pressing on them and, like...
Yeah,
like she's hand swaddling her.
Yeah, she's like, we don't have time for this. Basically, she tells Leo to go and find out everything he can about guardian demons. Thanks him in advance, and he orbs out
with a very, very dejected look on his face.
Yeah, Phoebe is annoyed with Prue because she didn't get to finish yelling, and Phoebe decides to go to the club and yell at Piper. She starts to grab the car keys and head towards the door, but Prue closes the front door using her power, which of course. Then Phoebe reminds her of a conversation that they must have had off camera where Prue isn't allowed to use her active power until Phoebe has an active power to use back.
Yeah.
Which is foreshadowing in the most obvious of unobvious ways.
I know, really is.
Mm-hmm. Prue apologizes and says that she should be the one to talk to Piper because Phoebe should be in class
and
anyway.
Also, calmer heads or whatever.
Cooler heads. Yeah. And so she takes the keys from Phoebe and she leaves.
And we get immediately an exterior shot of P3.
Yeah. The now appearing sign is on the screen in that corner. There's nothing shown on display. It's just a lovely black box.
However, we know from the credits that the bare naked ladies will be appearing.
Indeed. So, inside, Prue walks down the stairs calling for Piper. And on the wall, there are posters for a few different bands. And because I'm me...
Yes.
I had to, right? So one of them is the Goo Goo Dolls, which I've mentioned before. But the others that I could make out are Muzzle, Soul Coughing, and Bare Naked Ladies. Now, Muzzle was an alt-rock band that formed in 1994, but they broke up in 1999 after releasing their second album. Soul Coughing was also an alt-rock group formed in 1992. They broke up in 2000 after releasing 3 albums. And then 2 years after they broke up, they released a greatest hits album.
Okay.
Because apparently that's a thing. I'll link to both of those on the website in case you want to know more about their music. Because, some people do.
And then finally, we have the Bare Naked Ladies. And they are a Canadian rock band. They formed in 1988, and they are still going strong.
Yep. While they had a cult following in Canada, their song 1 Week is the one that brought them success in the United States.
And in 2007, they wrote and recorded the theme song for The Big Bang Theory, which is still going.
Yep.
And it's a cute song, even though I don't care much for the show.
I don't mind the show as... okay, let me rephrase. I enjoy the show as long as I remember that it's trying too hard to be funny.
Yes.
And then I'm okay with it.
And it's,
Oh, it's misogynistic as hell.
Misogynistic and making fun of nerds instead of, like, trying to make their lives funny.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a problematic show, to say the least. But I still get enjoyment.
But the theme song is cute.
Yeah, but I still get enjoyment from it because...
I occasionally do. But I think it's really hilarious watching it without the laugh track. Like, that makes it funnier for me.
Except it's not a laugh track. They actually have a studio audience, so it makes it a little weird.
I think they add a little.
They add a little, I'm sure.
So, but laughing it without the reaction of a studio audience is so much funnier for me for some reason.
Because the timing is wrong.
Well, yeah.
That's literally the thing, is if you take out the live laughter, the timing becomes wrong. Because they're pausing for laughter that you're not hearing. Anyway, so their 12th studio album was just released in November of 2017.
Woot woot.
Woot woot.
Anyway, the poster on the wall in P3 is for their album Maroon, which has the song Pinch Me on it, which, spoiler alert, we will be hearing later in the episode. And it will be the studio recording.
Yes,
it is not live recorded, unlike with Goo Goo Dolls.
No, you mean unlike Paula Cole. Because Goo Goo Dolls was the studio version.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry, I mean Paula Cole. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries.
I knew someone had, like, the actual live thing going on.
Yeah, just Paula Cole. So Piper walks in holding a notebook saying that all of her supplies are missing and the books are all messed up. And she
walks over to Prue at the bar and she's like, how did everything get so screwy in just a day? And Prue's like,
you've been gone for a month.
Yeah, I'm so surprised that she didn't, like, look at... She's holding these notebooks. Presumably they're, like, the records and logs and whatever. Like, they don't have dates on them?
Yeah. Well...
But, of course, Prue,
if everything's messed up, they might not. Who knows? So, when Piper doesn't believe her...
Prue, a la convenience, has a...
Newspaper that just happens to be sitting on the bar. She shows her, tells her to check the date. And she's like, it's October? When did that happen? Like, well, if you look at the date, you can tell when it happened.
Yeah.
Just saying.
It's somewhere between 1 and 30 days old.
Yes. 31. Well, no, well, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Piper assures Prue that she didn't realize how long she'd been gone or she would have sent word to her worried sisters. And then Prue wonders why Leo didn't message them. So Piper is like, well, he was dealing with some shit of his own.
Yes. And then she pauses and realizes that no one called the Bare Naked Ladies to confirm that they would be playing at the club the next day. And she starts to pick up the phone, but Prue kind of stops her and she's like, that can be dealt with later.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, that seems to be a very important thing for the health of her club. Like...
Yes, but, demons come first, I guess.
Yeah. Well, not even demons, relationships.
Well, relationships, yeah. Like, other stuff comes first because, reasons and things. Prue wonders what happened while Piper was gone, and Piper says that the longer that she's back, the harder it is to remember. So it's a good thing that Prue stopped her from calling the Bare Naked Ladies to get all this information, right?
Yeah. Apparently, most of what she can remember are feelings from being up there, not actual events.
Yeah.
Which, anyway, she wouldn't have a whole lot to tell Prue because she was only there for, like, a day. So she wouldn't certainly have a month worth of activities to tell her.
Well, time works differently up there, apparently.
True.
We learned that everything was fine until Leo was told that they had to stop seeing each other or they'd reassign him and they'd never see each other again.
And Piper is, of course, taking it extremely personally and wondering why she's being punished because the relationship between their mother and her own white lighter didn't work out.
And Prue reminds her that Leo's not going to give up without a fight.
And they hug. It's very sweet. But
Piper is not convinced. Yeah. And I thought about this going, I don't think you're being punished because of your mother and her white lighter. I think you're being punished.
That's just the rules.
Yeah, like I think you're being punished because it shouldn't have happened with your mother and her white lighter. And they're trying to stop it from happening again. And this has probably happened with other people. And they're just like, no, this is against the rules. Stop it.
Yep.
Anyway, we cut to Phoebe,
who is walking along the path on a college campus, so she knows she's in college.
Yeah. She has added a denim jacket to her outfit, as well as a backpack, and she's carrying some books. And now we can see that the pants, the gray pants that go with this outfit, are actually just long shorts.
Like Bermudas?
Yeah, like they end at the knee. They were cuter when I thought they were actual pants.
Okay.
The cropped pant with the cropped top and the cropped jacket, it didn't work for me.
Too agricultural for you?
Yeah.
Too many crops.
Too many crops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we see Cole coming up behind her. He, like, joins from another path and kind of, like, does the I'm gonna surprise you run up behind her, and he taps her on the shoulder.
So she spins around
and does
a high kick.
Or like a roundhouse, I think?
Yeah, but it was possibly supposed to be a roundhouse. But she, like, yells out a loud, hi-ya!
And, okay, the way this is shot is kind of bad, because you see the angle where you see Cole tap her on the shoulder, and you see her start to turn, and then suddenly it just comes up on her leg as he is catching it, and it's clear that she just, like, kicked up in that moment while facing him.
Yeah.
And it's not a very good way to be put together. Yeah. But yeah, he kind of grabs her ankle, and he's just holding it. And there's a little embarrassed flirting before she asks for her leg back.
Yeah, and he puts her leg down, and then he says that he senses things from people, and that he senses that she's struggling with the truth. And this was the moment where I was like, yep, this is when I started hating him.
Yep.
Like this moment right here, first episode of his run, this was when I started hating him.
Uh-huh.
Because it was like, dude, either flirt or don't, but don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And this is you being a bit of a dick.
A little bit.
Just a titch.
But it is very in character with, like, your typical slimy-ish lawyer.
Yeah. And as I, again, because there has been so much time since the first time I saw this to now, and I am older now, I am wiser now, I have been through other things, it didn't strike me as slimy as it did the first time.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate him as much.
It's a little more, like, stereotypical.
Yeah.
Like, vague slimy. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have as much of an impact.
Yeah. And so, like, I didn't hate him instantly in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have that background hate, because we all know Cole is not my favorite. But it didn't start again in this moment. And I am pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is another half second of flirting, and he puts a business card into one of the books she's holding and tells her that his home number is on the back. And then he turns and walks away. And Phoebe, like, does that head tilt where you can tell she's trying to check out his butt.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you can't even see it. The cut of that suit is so loose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she kind of, like, shakes her head and she's like, what am I doing?
Yeah. And we have a little continuity error where he puts the business card inside one of the books. It cuts to him, cuts back to her, and the card is missing. Cuts back to him, cuts back to her, and it's back. So it's just that little, just tiny touch of continuity error. I'm just like, what happened? Like, why did they need to put in that extra little
I don't know.
bit? Whatever. She pulls the card out of the book and immediately has a premonition.
Well, she has a premonition once she's got both hands on it, which I thought was interesting.
Was it?
She, like, holds it between her hands.
She was holding the books. How would she have?
They were in her arm. Like, you've never picked up something else while holding books in.
I honestly don't remember how she was holding it. I just know that she picked up the card.
Well, yeah, but, like, once she gets it in between her two hands and is, like, looking at the damn thing, then she has the premonition.
Yeah.
And in the premonition, we see Emilio and we see Cole on the ground with a triangle carved into his forehead.
Yep, and then we go to commercial break, because of course we do. Now, when we come back from commercial break, we have an exterior shot of P3, and it looks like it's a slightly different angle from the previous exterior shot. The now appearing sign is still there, but it's like just slightly different angle.
Yeah. Anyway, Phoebe comes running down the stairs,
murmuring that she needs a cell phone, which I thought was very funny.
Oh, is that what she was saying? I thought she was complaining about her current cell phone or something.
No, she goes, I really need a phone. Like, I really need to get a cell phone. Because apparently Piper has one and Prue has one, but Phoebe doesn't.
Phoebe tells Prue about her premonition, and Piper's very confused. She's like, wait, who's Cole? And what did you do to your hair?
And Phoebe jokes about not knowing who Piper is, which I thought was kind of funny.
But Prue, like, kind of snaps and brings her back to reality.
Yeah. They think that Emilio might have gotten another guardian.
And as Piper opens her mouth to ask something, Phoebe shuts her down, and she's like, you would know if you'd fucking been here.
Yeah. Prue tells Piper that they'll explain everything over the phone, because she has a cell phone.
Yes.
And tells Piper to get together with Leo to find out what he's found. And I just love the fact that Phoebe's just like, make sure you don't orb anywhere with him.
Yeah.
And then she and Prue leave the club. It was super funny in that, like, I'm mad at you, but we have to go, so I'm going to continue to be mad at you, even though I don't really want to be mad at you.
Yeah.
But I have to be mad at you because I've been mad at you.
Yes.
Like that.
Keeping up appearances.
Yeah, it was very funny. We get an exterior shot of the courthouse.
And Emilio walks into kind of like a dim sort of
like office
somber
type
office room
thing.
And
he's wearing the same outfit as before, but this time he has taken off the tie.
Mm-hmm. And he's talking to someone, telling them that he needs another guardian, and the man in the chair, whose arm we only see, tells him to be more careful because he won't have protection again.
Yeah.
Emilio's of course being a pompous ass and saying, oh, I won't get caught.
Yeah, I can totally take out the witches. And this is when we find that the person that he's talking to is the judge.
Who leans into the light as he's saying, no, you can't. You're mortal.
Yeah. And then there's a bit of fire and smoke, and the athame magically appears in the judge's hand. And he tells Emilio to kill Cole, and that he doesn't want anyone to find out about them.
Yeah, because apparently he's more worried about the assistant district attorney than he is worried about the witches for some goddamn reason. Oh, well.
Yeah. Not exactly sure why, but that's a thing that happened. Then we jump over to the police station with no exterior shot.
Cole and Daryl are both there.
And they are in the exact same outfits as before, except Daryl has removed his jacket.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just reminding you now that Emilio has been in the same outfit. The judge was in the same outfit except without his judge's robe. Cole and Daryl are in the same outfits, but Phoebe and Prue have changed.
Yeah.
Just reminding you of that. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Anyway, Cole is trying to get something out of Daryl, more information that he thinks is being held back from him. And he mentions that, he let a murderer go free today, which doesn't exactly sit well with him.
Yeah. Now, but this brings into question the fact that in the earlier scene where we got Piper and Phoebe, which we didn't mention when we brought that up, but I'm mentioning now, Phoebe says that Cole was great in the courtroom yesterday. So this is where we are now questioning either the continuity of timing in this episode or why nobody but the girls have changed clothes.
I don't know. Honestly, it would not happen with this timetable anyway. Nothing happens that fast in the court of law.
Yeah. So it's slightly confusing.
Because for one, is this just hearings? I would assume so since there's no jury.
I believe it was supposed to be his...
Arraignment?
Yeah.
I love that. I know that word.
Yeah, it was supposed to be his arraignment, I believe. And the fact that the charges were dropped, it wasn't his trial or anything. It was like the, are we actually going to go to trial?
Okay.
Thing. Whatever. Cole and Daryl are butting heads about being on the same side of this whole thing when Cole asked Daryl why he called the Halliwells at 2:17 in the morning while on a stakeout.
And he's holding a sheet of paper that he clearly had with him because he was checking up on him.
Yeah. Daryl says that because the sisters own a club that he thought they might like to check out the rave, which I thought was a hilarious way of being yes, that's totally why I called at 2:00 in the morning in the middle of a stakeout. Please believe me.
Yeah.
It
was a really weak excuse.
It was. It really was.
It would have worked if he wasn't talking to someone who knows that cops don't call anyone when they're on stakeouts.
Yeah. It was... Yeah.
Yeah, it would have worked for a pleb. It did not work. It would not work for someone who knows the law.
Yeah. Just then, Cole's phone rings. His cell phone rings. And a woman on the phone says that Phoebe is calling, and he tells her to put the call through. So, we have an office that is being calling the cell phone to put through the phone call that is coming through into the office.
Well, he probably didn't have his cell phone listed on the card. He had his home phone, but not the cell.
Yeah. It's a little weird, but it works.
What are you laughing
What's
about?
up, Blue? Go to bed.
Calm down.
Go to sleep.
Chill.
We cut over to seeing Phoebe and Prue in the car as Cole mentions that he is meeting with Daryl.
So Phoebe tells Prue that Cole is at the police station, and Prue's like, okay,
that's 15 minutes. Yeah. And Phoebe's like, I need to talk to you.
It's
Cole.
very important.
Yeah. And then the call starts to break up a bit because that's what happened back in the early days of cell phones.
Which is funny because they're driving out in the complete open and Cole hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Which makes this worse reception than the club.
Yep. This is an a la convenience reception problem thing. Phoebe tries to tell Cole to stay where he is, but he says that he's running late for court.
And he's
going to
also,
call her from
trying
his car.
to peacock for Daryl, so...
Yeah. He says that he's going to call her back from his car, and he hangs up on her. And so she realizes that either he's hung up or the line went dead, and then she hangs up and kind of stares at her phone for a second, which was very funny.
And then we cut to the car park at the police station. We see Cole enter and start walking towards his car. And as he's walking, we see a shot of around the side of a pillar on the opposite side.
Yep.
Of Emilio.
Holding the athame.
And breathing kind of heavily.
Yeah, it was a little creepy.
Very creepy.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a roundabout as Emilio kind of hides behind pillars as Cole walks. And then he walks past one right before his car, and Emilio jumps out and knocks Cole, not even in the back of the head, in the middle of his shoulder blades.
Yeah, it was in the back.
It was literally in between his shoulder blades. I'm like,
yeah, I thought it was the way that I saw it was it was kind of where his spine meets his shoulders. It's that little in between spot between your head and your shoulders. Right.
No, it wasn't on the neck. It was in between the shoulder blades. Yes.
Oh, okay. See, I missed that bit. All right.
It was extremely low, but with the butt of the athame.
Yeah. So Cole falls to the ground just as Prue and Phoebe arrive. So that 15 minutes went by.
No, he rolled him
super fast.
Yeah, he rolled him over, and he starts like leaning over the dude, and then we hear tires screeching, and hey, look, it's the Jeep. Well,
yeah,
it's Prue's car anyway.
Yeah, it's Prue's car. But like it that 15 minutes went by super fast.
Well, I was amazed because at the beginning of the episode that the 3 minutes was almost 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually pretty close, even though there was no way they would get from their house to that rave in 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, not so much. And find parking.
Yeah, I know.
But, no, but the 15 minutes went by super fast, and she knew to speed up when getting into the car park. Because they came around a corner to come at Emilio. Just saying. Anyway, Prue drives straight towards Emilio. He jumps out of the way.
Which is funny because she'd then be driving to run over Cole.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It was a little odd. They stop the car. They jump out. Phoebe, of course, runs over to Emilio, and he tries to stab her.
And she jumps up to dodge the attack and
flies straight into the air because new power.
And there's a great noise she makes, like a whoa.
Yeah, and she's like in shock at the fact that she now has the active power of levitation.
And Prue uses the distraction to throw Emilio onto a rando car.
Yeah.
And we see the like windshield crack and everything, and he's knocked out again.
Yeah.
He's very easy to knock out, this boy.
He really, really is. Phoebe then falls back onto the ground as the Guardian rises out of Emilio, and because she doesn't know how to control this new power yet, she calls out to Prue, who uses her power to make the Athame fly straight into the Guardian's rune on his forehead, and he explodes in a ball of flame.
Along with the knife, presumably.
Uh-huh.
But then Phoebe runs over to Cole, who wakes up after like a little bit of a shake, and he asks what happened, and she's like, I'm going to plead the fifth about that.
Yeah. So, for anyone who isn't aware, the Fifth Amendment protects individuals from being forced to incriminate themselves, at least in American stuff. I'll link to the wiki for anyone who wants to get a more technical answer than that, but it's convoluted, as is most law stuff. Mm-hmm. So, there's that. We then cut over to an exterior shot of the manor.
Piper is walking down one of the upstairs hallways, and she hears Leo talking to himself. Or she hears Leo talking, and it sounds like he's addressing someone, and we cut inside the bathroom when we see him saying a line,
he,
and then
stands outside and listens.
Yeah, like we see him inside the bathroom, and then it cuts to him talking to himself in the mirror.
Yeah, well,
it's a little slapstick.
It's a little slapstick, but before they cut inside, we hear him talking about how lucky he is, and he says, "You're my raison d'être," and I'm like, "Aw, that's really sweet," because that's French for reason for being, or reason to be, which is just it's the sweetest thing, and it's one of those where like. We as an audience are like, oh, isn't that cute? He's rehearsing what he wants to say to her. Mm-hmm. And then you cut inside and you can see that he's talking to himself and he's obviously rehearsing what he wants to say to her. He's like saying things like, I can't imagine my life without you. And
it's
then
all very like Hallmark.
Yeah. And then Piper walks in and startles him and she questions him
and
about
there's this great bit where with her eyes where he tells her that he's talking to himself and she's like, yourself? So you were telling yourself how much you love you?
Yeah.
And she's like doing this triangle movement with her eyes. It's great.
Yeah, it was one of those where it was a funny moment, but it was also that like haha, the audience is in on the joke before she is kind of moment. Mm-hmm. But it didn't really play that way because like you know that she's walking in there going, okay, he's definitely like
up to something.
I don't know what, but now he's talking to himself about how much he loves himself. Something tells me he wasn't talking to himself about himself. That sort of thing. So
yeah, she questions him about it, and he's like, well, why don't we go downstairs? And she's like, no, we don't have time. You need to tell me what you found out about these Guardians. And he's like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot to find anything out about that. And she's confused as to how he forgot and like why he's being so weird.
And he again tries to maneuver her to go downstairs.
And she says no, again.
And he kind of looks around him at the floor, and he's like, well, I guess this is good enough.
Yeah. And she tries to interrupt him, but he stops her, and he says...
He goes down on one knee.
Yeah, he says that he's come up with a solution for them to be together. He gets down on one knee, and her eyes widen, and he takes her hand and asks her to marry him.
And she's kind of like got our mouth open, speechless, and then we go to
commercial break. Because of course we do. Why wouldn't we? And we come back from commercial as the scene is continuing, but it's in a different spot now. Piper is coming down the stairs. Leo is following her. She's still in disbelief. Leo says that he thought it all through, and she asks if that's why he asked her to marry him in a toilet.
And he rightly reminds her that he tried to get her downstairs. I tried to get you downstairs.
Yeah. Like, that was my favorite bit in the entire scene, where it was like, I tried to get you downstairs, you didn't listen. All right.
And she's still not having it, even though she's downstairs now.
Yeah.
And so he is trying to convince her, and he's like, I'm very serious about this, Piper, and tries to get her to stop running away from him long enough for him to explain.
Yeah.
And he's trying to explain to her the fact that if they get married, it's a holy union, and that means his bosses can't do anything about it because it's out of their power.
Yeah, that they wouldn't be able to break that bond even if they wanted to. But that the only catch is that they would have to do it in secret so that they couldn't be stopped from doing it.
Because apparently they don't listen all the time, but periodically they apparently stop in to, like, eavesdrop.
Yeah. So Piper asks if he means that, like, eloping, which has I can't say
colloquially.
Colloquially. That's a hard word to say. It has colloquially become known as a marriage conducted in a sudden and secretive fashion, but the literal meaning is to run away and not come back to the point of origin, which is a bit different when put into practice.
Yeah.
I'll link to the wiki, of course, but it's basically the way that eloping used to be was people would go from wherever they lived, run away from there to go get married, and never go back home.
Yeah.
Because they would not be accepted.
Allowed to stay together.
Yeah, exactly. They would not be accepted as being a couple back home, and so they would never be allowed to come back home.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which country this is. It might have been Spain or, like, Argentina or something. But there was a lesbian couple who eloped to a different country, got married, and came back, and one of them was impersonating a man and saying that she was, like, a cousin of the original woman or whatever, and their marriage was, like, sanctified by the church or something, but it was under an assumed name for one of them, and so technically that was the first, like, gay marriage in the history of that country.
That I have no idea.
I don't know. I have to do more research, but it was really funny because I'm like, yeah, that's kind of eloping because you didn't exactly come back as who you were.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyway, but yeah, Piper
wants to be sure how he can know that they're not listening now,
and he kind of doesn't explain. He's just like, trust me,
they don't do that. Yeah, she's still unclear as to why they have to be so secretive about it if they aren't listening all the time.
And then she says something that felt like it was from the end of the first season of Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, like the whole Max and Lorelai thing.
Yeah.
But she's like, I don't want marriage to be a solution. I want it to be because, we love each other.
And we actually want to get married. And he tries to remind her of the future where they were, married. But she says that getting married in secret doesn't seem like a holy union to her.
And she apologizes to him just as Phoebe and Prue come home and walk into the living room.
Yeah.
And they ask if he found anything by the Guardians, and he's, like, halfway crying, and he's like, not yet. Also, this entire previous scene where they're talking to each other, for some reason, half of the time, when the camera is on Piper, she's a little blurry, for some reason.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I have to think maybe the cameraman was just, like, really invested in their fake relationship and was just kind of affected by their dialogue or something. Yeah. Or maybe he just wasn't paying attention.
That could be.
Could have been either one.
Anyway, so the fact that he says that he hasn't found anything out about them yet annoys Phoebe.
And Piper leaves the room as Phoebe's asking why he didn't find out anything.
Yep.
So Phoebe calls after her, and Leo's like, I'll go see what I can find out.
And he just orbs out immediately. And then we jump over to the police station. Again, no exterior shot. And Emilio and Daryl are in a room when Cole walks in. And so let's just do a quick rundown of the scene, shall we?
Yes.
Emilio isn't talking.
Daryl tells Cole not to do anything stupid.
Cole says that there's no way that this guy is going to get punished for hitting him on the head.
And then Cole walks over and sits on the end of the table.
Yeah. Cole tells Emilio that he's got a deal for him.
He wants Emilio to tell whoever sent him that Cole is going to personally bring him down.
And when Emilio says that he isn't scared,
Cole bangs Emilio's head on the table and then grabs his throat with like just the first two fingers and his thumb.
Yeah,
like,
and he goes
right where his Adam's apple pretty much is.
Yeah, and he goes, "You have no idea who you're dealing with." And then Daryl splits them up.
And for some reason, this really shakes Emilio.
Yeah,
like, he looks really
like
shook.
worried.
He looks shook.
Yeah, he looks very worried.
Yes.
And then Cole just leaves. Daryl lets him leave,
Uh-huh.
and we jump back over to the manor with no exterior shot because we can't stay in one place too long.
Nope. Piper is laying on the bed very prettily in her room.
Yeah.
You know, on her side, not facing the door, as Prue and Phoebe enter, and they kind of drape themselves over her.
In that adorable sister way
Uh-huh.
that they do.
Yeah.
And we learn that, or they learn that Leo has asked Piper to marry him, but that she said no, and they are very confused, and Phoebe says that their love is the stuff of dreams.
And asks if Prue ever dreams about it, and Prue's like, yeah, all
All
the time.
Yeah.
And then
Leo
Leo
orbs in. And it was one of those moments where Leo orbed into the bedroom, and I'm like, Leo, haven't we talked about this?
Yeah.
Didn't you learn?
I feel like, well, I mean, how does he ever orb into where they are? He probably checks for them. So that was probably just an instance of he hadn't checked.
Yeah.
Or he just checked to see if there was anyone in there.
Yeah. But, so he orbs in. Prue and Phoebe think that he's back just a tad too fast.
Yeah.
And after they get him to skip the bits they already know, which again is a lovely running theme in this one of skip the recap, which is kind of fun.
He says that they've apparently stumbled across some evil conspiracy in that courtroom where there is some upper level demon assigning guardians to the criminals who are set free.
Yep.
And Phoebe immediately connects that the judge, so nicknamed
Free Willy, yeah,
which is a horrible nickname for a judge. Good nickname for a flasher, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, she figures out that he's got to be the one in the power position.
Because he also has the highest release rate of anyone on the bench.
Which should be super suspicious.
Yeah, should be suspect number one. Leo reminds them that they have to know if the judge is a demon before they can vanquish him. And Phoebe says that Emilio will be in night court in an hour.
Prue's like, I have an idea. Look at this lovely light bulb that just lit up over my head.
Ding! And we cut over to the courthouse with no exterior shot. The girls and Leo are walking down the corridor, and Piper has now changed into pants, a shirt, and a cardigan, all in shades of green.
Like kind of a muted forest green. It's lovely.
Yeah, they're all different shades of
bra.
green, but they're all different shades of green, but they all work well together.
Mm-hmm. And she's also changed her hair, and I think it looks super cute.
Yeah, her
Kind
hair's
of like
down
a
now.
half-up thing.
Yeah, it was like a little half up down thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Piper's like, why don't we just come up with a spell? And Prue's like, well, you know, spells can backfire.
Yeah, she might be remembering that incident of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yep.
Insanity thing.
So Phoebe tells Piper to just freeze the innocents, which Piper reminds her she's never done before.
And Phoebe's all like, well, I've never levitated before, which just confuses Piper.
Yeah. And then Piper asks why Phoebe went blonde.
And she replies that she wanted to change her luck.
She wanted to have more fun.
But the way that she says it, she goes, I just wanted to change my luck. And just drops it at that. And everyone drops it. And it was one of those where it's like, was that supposed to be some sort of callback somehow that I missed?
I don't know.
And I was thinking about it. I'm like, no, it really isn't.
It really wasn't.
And that's where it makes me wonder of, did she have some sort of job, like a movie or something outside of Charmed where she had to be blonde for the
Probably.
movie? Because that's the only reason I could think of it.
We'll have to check her IMDb.
Yeah, I didn't check before this, and I'm not going to check right this second. But we'll find out
We
eventually.
cut inside the courtroom where the girls and Leo walk in and sit down next to Daryl.
And Emilio's lawyer, Alan, is yelling about this turning into a witch hunt.
Just as he's, like, turning to Cole, he spots, the girls, and he literally gestures at them as he's saying
a witch hunt. Yeah, which is a lovely red herring. And Cole asks for a moment to speak to his witnesses, but the judge turns him down. Cole says, why was I attacked if this dude is innocent? And as Alan says that there is no proof, Prue whispers to Piper to freeze the room.
Piper tries,
Doesn't.
but it doesn't take.
No, at that moment she doesn't.
Okay.
She just kind of she does that little shake of the head no, I'm not going to do it.
Like,
Yeah. And Cole mentions that he has 2 eyewitnesses. Alan mentions that these are the same eyewitnesses from earlier, And then Phoebe whisper yells to Piper, and this is when she finally gives in, and she tries to freeze the room.
We hear the sound go off, but Alan is still talking about how they're magically at every crime scene.
Yeah.
And just as Cole turns to motion toward the girls, like, full hand motion.
Full
like,
hand out.
Mouth open.
Piper
mid-word.
manages
to freeze everything.
Yeah.
As he's saying, objection.
He's
in the middle. He says, like, objection, Your Honor. He's like...
I don't remember what word he was in the middle of.
No, he was definitely in the middle of objection because as Piper freezes the room, we hear the other lawyer say... Or wait, no, maybe the other lawyer was saying objection?
Yeah, I think the other lawyer was saying objection.
Because then the judge says overruled.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
So, but Cole was saying something mid-word.
Yeah.
Arm outstretched, mouth wide open, and we also see that Leo and Daryl have frozen in position. So, they aren't moving, therefore we assume they're frozen. And Phoebe says, it worked. And that's when we realize that nobody else in the room has frozen.
Nope, not a one.
Yeah. The judge calls out to kill them, and they all go running as the judge turns into a purplish skin demon with large, sharp teeth.
Yeah, like if you crossed a snake with an anglerfish.
A tiny bit, yeah. And then we go to commercial break, because of course we do.
That was a really short span between commercial breaks, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Is it just because you condensed?
Yeah, I think it might just be because I condensed.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, we come back from commercial as Prue, Piper, and Phoebe all run into a random room that looks like it's a conference room.
Well, it was either a conference room or it was an office of some sort. I think there was bookshelves.
There's a
and
blackboard.
Stuff. Yeah. They lock the door behind them.
And Prue's like, well, why can't we just freeze them now? And Piper says that, once they're immune to it, they stay that way.
That's why it's called immunity.
I'm just like, but Piper, you weren't trying to freeze them.
Yeah.
You were just trying to specifically target innocents.
Right. So why doesn't she at least try to freeze the bad guys? But the only thing that I can think of is somehow, as they were running, she did try, and they didn't.
Maybe.
Like, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that we just didn't see that she tried again. It's the only thing that I can say there, because we all know Piper's my favorite and I give her the benefit of the doubt.
You always do.
I do. So anyway,
as the bad guys try to get into the room, which must be like right next to the courtroom.
Yeah. It might have been like a waiting room or something.
But yeah,
right off there.
We get
a
camera shot of everyone except the judge like mobbing the door.
Yeah, like, and then banging on the door.
He says to stand back, and they part, and he throws a fireball at it, and it like does almost nothing.
Yeah.
So very sturdy door.
Except the funniest part, right?
Little smoky.
Yeah, we cut back inside and we see a little bit of smoke coming through the door crack, like the crack between the doors. It was very funny. Phoebe has blamed Prue for their predicament for some reason. And
it was her idea.
Oh, that's right. Because it was her idea to freeze the room. That's right. So Prue asks if there are any mass vanquishing spells. Phoebe reminds her that she's the one who's been studying the book. And we get a lovely cute sister moment.
Where Prue asks why Phoebe is picking on her. And Phoebe's like, I'm scared.
We're outnumbered. Yeah. Piper reminds them that they can't stay there forever, and another fireball hits the door. And Prue says that
I want point of order.
Yes.
The only thing holding this door closed is the fact that
it's locked.
Is the fact that Piper turns the little notch on the knob. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just that the knob won't turn. Like, yeah, that's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
man. It's just a small little doorknob lock. Uh-huh. Yeah. Prue says that the best defense is a good offense. And then as she starts to count to 3, she tells Phoebe not to hold her hand. Yeah. It was an adorable moment, and it reminds you that the girls are supposed to love each other. Because it was like, 1, 2, don't hold my hand. 1, 2. Like, it was super cute.
It really was.
Yeah. Prue then uses her power to make the door fly open in the opposite direction than it should.
Yep.
And makes everybody outside get knocked out, flinged away.
And Alan somehow has a gun that he points at Prue. He must have gotten it off of one of the bailiffs or something, because they're the only people allowed to have guns in a courtroom.
Yep.
And she uses her power on him and flings him into the jury box and a bunch of chairs.
Yep.
Before a security guard grabs her from behind.
Yep. And then Phoebe does some sort of karate moves on some random woman.
This entire sequence is really well choreographed.
It really
was. It was difficult to tell where the stunt people were, except that the faces were covered. Like, they were the same size, they moved the same way. Like, it was good.
Yeah, they did a really good job of hiding the stunt people. So Phoebe does some sort of karate move on some random woman.
And Emilio is heading straight for Piper, holding what kind of looks like a butterfly knife.
Yeah, it's a folded pocket knife, which has now been deemed illegal in many countries and many states in the U.S. I'll actually link to the wiki for butterfly knife for anyone if they want to see if they're illegal where they live. Because I know that they're illegal in Illinois.
Cool.
Which I found out when I bought one.
Oh, no.
In Wisconsin.
Oh, no.
And they were like, because you have to... I believe was it Wisconsin or Indiana? I don't know. I was in a different state.
Some neighboring state.
Yep. And I went to buy one and you have to be at least 18 to even look at the knives, and so I had to give them my ID. And they're like, "Oh, you live in Illinois. These are illegal in Illinois." And I went, "Oh shit, that's right." So I wound up not buying a butterfly knife because it's illegal in Illinois to have one, and I didn't want to be illegal.
No.
But I really enjoy a butterfly knife. They're cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like they fling and fly.
Yeah,
it's super fun.
I just remember a lot of the maneuvers from like Kick-Ass, that movie.
Yeah,
because Chloe Moretz is like doing a lot of shit with butterfly knives, and I'm just like, this is both adorable and impressive.
Indeed. So,
it's aggressive.
There you go. So Piper continually tries to freeze Emilio, but she remembers that it doesn't work.
So she grabs a baton off of the floor and blocks him trying to stab her.
Yeah. Prue breaks away from the guard's grip that, was on her. She kicks him, or kicks one of them in the stomach.
And then the judge tries to throw a fireball straight at her, but of course her power reflects it because he's an idiot and he targeted the
wrong person.
Yeah.
So they continue fighting like this with a moment of Phoebe's new power helping her land without falling, where she kind of like levitates up and lands on like a table or something. Like she doesn't fall over. She just kind of is higher up now. It was odd, but
was that the judge's bench or something?
Maybe I honestly don't remember. I just know that
I don't know. It was tough to tell where in the courtroom they were.
Yeah, because everyone was kind of moving around a bit.
But yeah, she kind of levitates up and ends up on top of something away from whoever's attacking her.
Yeah, and so they continue fighting until everyone who isn't the girls or the judge is unconscious. Piper realizes that only the judge was using any sort of power against them.
And as he's like walking back to his chambers, he calls out, "Come to me!" And we see all of the guardians rise out of the people, except they're not really guardians. They're just like these black, white outlined blurs. It was very Ghost.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit gauche.
Tiny bit.
A little bit.
Skosh. It was a skosh. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The girls realized that they were protected by demons, that they aren't actually demons, and then they go running after the judge.
And as they run past him, we see Cole move.
Because
he wasn't frozen at all. Like, there was a couple of shots where you saw the fireball fly past, where you could see that Cole and Daryl and Leo were just clearly, like, standing still.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to stay as still as possible.
Daryl and Leo were sitting on the bench in
so it's a little easier
in the spectator area, just sitting as still as possible. And Cole, standing there with the arm out and the mouth wide open, is trying to stand as still as possible. And I will give it to Julian McMahon.
Yeah.
For being able to stand there with his mouth open and his hand out for that long.
Yeah, and when he gets back into the position later, like, he gets the exact same.
Yeah, it was not identical. It was good. Beautiful.
But anyway, he turns around, watches them go through the door. They don't notice him at all. He smiles, and then he disappears with one of those, like, shimmers, like a temperature shimmer in the air when you're driving.
Yeah. That's what it looked like. It was like a heat shimmer kind of thing.
Or like a ripple on the water.
Yeah. So we cut over to the judge's chambers, and Cole appears in front of the judge, who is rightfully confused.
Who is trying to make a break for it.
Mm-hmm.
He says something like, "What the hell?" And Cole's like, "Oh, thank you." Which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, it was...
And
he was just snarky enough.
It really was.
Yeah.
And it was very smooth.
Yeah. And he goes, just kind of take it from here.
And then he just like holds out his hand, kind of in a mock version.
His hand.
He flicked his hand, but it looked like it was in the courtroom a little bit.
Yeah.
And the judge just gets engulfed in flames. And he stops for a second, and we see his like face being framed, Cole's face being framed by the flames.
Yeah.
And then he shimmers back on out.
Yeah, and he reappears outside, and he gets right back into his frozen position.
The exact frozen position.
And it was like, this is when I was, in my notes, I was like, I'm going to give him points for dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to stand in the same spot with your arm outstretched and your mouth wide open.
Uh-huh.
Like, Julian McMahon is a very good actor.
Yes, he is.
I will give him points for that. I did not give him credit for that the first time I saw this, I'm sure. Because I already didn't like him.
And clearly he's putting the judge on a slow burn because it was like a couple of seconds that he was standing there, and it was like another second for him to get out of the way, and then the girls come in.
Right. They walk into the chambers.
And they see the judge for like a second or two burn, and then he like explodes and disappears.
Yeah. Piper, of course, wonders how that happened, and Phoebe realizes that they need to get back out there before Cole unfreezes. Because heaven forfend.
Yes.
So
anyway, they walk back outside, and Piper's like, dude, how are we going to explain this to him? Phoebe picks up an a la convenience baton, stands behind Cole,
apologizes to him, and then hits him with it.
And I'm just like, I wonder what he thought of that apology. He was probably amused.
Uh-huh. He falls down, and then Piper unfreezes Leo and Daryl. And now there's a bit of sound continuity here, because we hear, like, a short snippet of the unfreezing sound that is made when Cole falls, but he wasn't actually frozen, so there shouldn't have been a sound.
Well, it was kind of from their perspective, I guess.
Maybe?
So, like, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Or maybe he can mimic it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Because he knew they were freezing him.
Yeah.
Like, he knew. He stopped the second it happened, as opposed to, like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like
he knew
he
it was
able
coming.
to tell when it was happening, because he wasn't really looking at Piper when it happened.
Well, he had just turned around.
Exactly. What I'm saying.
Happened,
so he was aware that it was coming. So then maybe he can mimic it to a certain extent.
I don't know.
He's just not tied to the effect.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little weird because, like, the sound that gets played with the unfreezing sounds like something is being played backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just a little snippet of that happened when Cole fell to the ground.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it was just a little odd continuity-wise, because if he wasn't frozen, the sound shouldn't have happened.
Uh-huh.
Whatever.
But anyway, Phoebe goes to Cole, and there's a great shot of him, like, opening his eyes on the ground, and his mouth is, like, squished against the floor, and he's just kind of like, huh?
Yes, it was great. And she helps him sit up, and he asks what happened, and she goes, "Aren't you tired of asking me that?"
So she explains that Emilio.
But hold on, before she explains, like she gets that, like she says, "Aren't you tired of asking me that?" And then she looks at his face and is like, "Oh fuck, I actually have to come up with an explanation." Okay, so what happened was...
Yeah, she says that Emilio went nuts and tried to escape, and everyone in the courtroom tried to help him.
Yeah, and Prue and Piper say that Daryl saved the day. Which, Cole acts confused, and Phoebe asks if he can just accept that something good happened, but he says that it's not in his nature.
Which is
a double entendre.
Yeah, that's nicely tongue-in-cheek, I think.
Yes, because he's playing up that being a lawyer, it's not in his nature, but we all know that he's not one of the good guys in this instance, or at least we are suspecting he's not one of the good guys,
we know.
Seeing as
he made a judge
burn.
Yeah. And nothing good shimmers like that.
Yeah, not so much.
But anyway, we are back to P3.
Yeah, we have a lovely exterior shot of P3. There are people lined up outside, so of course the now appearing sign is gone.
And inside, the Bare Naked Ladies are playing Pinch Me on the stage, wearing identical short-sleeved yellow sundrop button-ups.
Yep. Because that is their
flattering.
Yes, but that is their style.
I know.
They all wear the same thing, and I enjoy it. It's funny.
I'm not opposed to the idea of a band all wearing the same thing. I'm opposed to that specific shirt.
Well, all right then.
All 5 of those specific shirts. Or 4, or however many there are of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, Piper is at the bar serving drinks as Prue and Phoebe walk up.
Yep.
And she's wearing a very, very unflattering tank top.
Yeah, Piper is in a blue shirt that has some sort of, like, beading detail on the top hem and the straps. Phoebe is in a black halter top, and Prue is in a brown sequined shirt with a feather necklace.
But the feathers are, like, glass or something, or, like, plastic, I guess?
Yeah, I think they're like, plastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't see the bottoms of any of their outfits at this time, and we don't see the bottom of Phoebe or Prue's outfit at all.
Mm.
So that's all we got. But here we get another time continuity question. Because Phoebe asks how Piper got the Bare Naked Ladies to play after being gone for 2 days.
Yeah.
So how long was she actually gone?
I'm inclined to say a month.
She either meant to say that she's been back for 2 days.
Yeah, that's probably
Or
it.
Prue and Phoebe were lying about how long she'd actually been gone. But they showed
could
her
not have been lying
they showed her
about
the newspaper that said it's October.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, it's just one of those where the wording
I think
is
that was just
weird.
a word slip.
Yeah,
And
right.
no one caught it because they don't have continuity people on this show. But anyway, Piper's like, oh, I just made a couple of phone calls. And Phoebe laments about the fact that she couldn't even get Barry Manilow on the phone. And I'm like, honey, that's not an even. Barry Manilow is pretty fucking important.
Well, yeah, but so, okay.
He's kind of a big name.
He is. So for anyone who isn't aware of Barry Manilow, I will link to his wiki on the website, as well as the wikis to most of his famous songs. I'm not going to link to the YouTube videos because I already have the songs stuck in my head just by looking them up. Besides, he's he's really only interesting to me because my mother enjoyed him when I was growing up, and so I listened to him a lot as a kid.
He's only interesting to me because he was mentioned on Angel.
There you go. I
There's
have
a great
soft
bit
spot.
of David Boreanaz singing Mandy.
Yes.
It's horrible and I love it.
It's brilliant.
It's goddamn annoying.
Yep.
And wonderful.
Yep. It is the best. So, yeah. Copacabana is already stuck in my head.
Oh, I didn't know that was his.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I just really am not that aware of him.
Yeah. You get Mandy,
I know
you
the
get
name,
Copacabana.
I know the name, and
you
I
get
know
I Write
Mandy,
the
and
songs.
that's it. And now I know Copacabana.
Yeah.
But anyway, Piper thanks them for covering for her.
Because
the
Phoebe had apologized for screwing up the club.
Mm-hmm. And this is the point at which I noticed Piper's hair, and I'm really liking it. Mm-hmm. So Phoebe lies and says she hadn't even noticed Piper was gone.
Yeah, Prue, of course, calls her on it. And Phoebe says that she's been lying a lot lately.
And this is the point at which I noticed Phoebe's hair, and it's kind of like a modern Farrah Fawcett type deal.
Yeah, it did look
It's very
a
cool.
little like blown, like windswept. It looked cute. So
Phoebe says she hopes she doesn't have to lie to Cole anymore, and Prue's like,
he's probably not going anywhere anytime soon.
And Piper's like, isn't he kind of a threat to us because he's like law person around here?
Yeah. I enjoyed this little moment because Prue says that he's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Phoebe says something like, no complaints here, and that's when Piper's like, one complaint?
Yeah.
Like, isn't he, kind of like a threat to us? Just a tad?
Phoebe tells her, well, at least he's one of the good guys.
And then Leo walks in.
Speak of the angel.
Yeah, wearing a gray sweater.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe asks Piper if she's had a change of heart, and Piper says no, but not like sadly.
Yeah,
so
she
we're
was
like,
actually, no, I haven't had a change
Yeah.
of heart. And she walks over to Leo, and this is where we can see that she has paired her top with a skirt that is a slightly lighter shade of blue.
And it's kind of hanging off of her like sweatpants.
Yeah.
It's not flattering.
It's not
at
a
all.
flattering
And it's
skirt.
The tank top is super short, so there's like an inch of skin in between there and the skirt. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
what?
it was not one of her best outfits.
Oh, really not.
It really, really wasn't.
It was less flattering than that short sleeve turtleneck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
But
odd.
anyway,
Leo, we see that Leo has paired his gray sweater with light tan pants.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't khaki. They were light tan.
cool.
Yeah.
He starts to talk, but she cuts him off and kind of drags him over to a different area of the club, a presumably quieter area. And she tells him that in the courtroom during the attack, she was really scared and realized that she didn't want to die without ever having married him.
Aww. And then she says that she would love to marry him, and he jokingly questions her a couple of times, like, yeah, like that kind of thing. And then they laugh, and they hug, and they kiss.
And the camera pulls back. There's a weird ADR line of someone yelling for an encore. And
Even though the band is still playing.
It's they're talking about the kid. You know, it could have been Phoebe yelling for an encore because she saw.
No,
them
it was a
kissing.
guy. It was
was it?
Yeah, it was a
Damn.
guy's voice yelling encore.
Damn, that would have
Yeah.
been really cute if Phoebe was just yelling encore at them from the bar.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But no, there was just a random ADR of some dude yelling for an encore as the band is still playing. And then we fade out and we get the end credits.
Uh-huh.
So there we go. That is the first episode of season 3. Done and dusted.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the episode done, that means we are on to our rating portion of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
You go first.
All right. I'm giving this episode a 9 out of 10 bathroom proposals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to also give it a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Disappearing Chris's.
Oh, meaning the dagger.
Yes.
Got it.
Disappearing daggers. There. That's...
Much more alliterative.
Yes.
Yes.
As for outfits, I'm going to say Piper's, like, green sweater ensemble. I liked that one.
Yeah, I also enjoyed her shades of green outfit a lot. For Prue, I kind of actually liked the white turtleneck with the khaki pants.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, it looked really nice on her.
I liked the shirt she was wearing with the pleather pants. I just didn't like the necklace.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. And for Phoebe, I'm going to be honest, I liked the sleeveless white crop top outfit before I knew that the pants were cropped as well.
Yeah. Well, they're Bermuda shorts.
Yeah, not a fan. No, not a fan. But we're done.
Yes, we are.
That is us done.
Welcome to season 3, everybody.
Yeah. So, social media stuff.
Yeah. You can always feel free to email us questions or comments or stories or whatever at charmchats@gmail.com.
Yep. We'll reply as soon as we notice the email.
Yes. You can find us on Twitter at charmchatspod.
Mm-hmm.
Also on Tumblr.
Yep.
We are
on Facebook.
As
Charmchats. And
what else we got? Oh, Instagram. We have an Instagram.
We do have an Instagram.
Chats.
Charmchats Instagram. And as per always, you can find all of the links to everything on charmchats.com, as well as the episode. And because people have asked for it, starting with this episode 301, it is now on the website and on iTunes at the same time. So you're welcome. You don't have to wait for it to be on iTunes anymore.
Yeah. Oh, and if you are so inclined and you have the necessary means, we have a Patreon, and we would greatly appreciate any contributions toward this so we can, pay for stuff like better recording equipment
and
or
the
actual recording software.
And to be completely honest, the Patreon money will help us be able to keep things going up on iTunes.
Yes.
Period. Point blank. That
Yes.
is what it is helping with right now.
Yep.
So if you are listening on iTunes and you enjoy listening on iTunes, head over to our Patreon. Think about possibly giving us like $1 a month. Any little bit helps. And if you become a patron at any tier, you get access to all of the behind the scenes bloopers, tangents, random stuff.
Yeah.
That I decided to put up.
Complaining about blue nuts settling and all that.
Exactly. And who knows, eventually there may be other things that I put up on Patreon just for Patreon people that will never go up on iTunes. Who knows?
Who knows?
So, all that being said, until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Prue, they've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next time with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.